Huh, would you look at that? Looks like they've released the all minor league rosters for the 2024 season. I wonder if any of my favorite sock-based baseball teams' prospects made the cut. Oh wow, Roman Anthony, I know that guy. He's named after easily my favorite capital city on the Italian peninsula. And yes, Christian Campbell. Who can forget my favorite prospect who's named after one of the largest food processed companies in the United States, and who as a result has the great fortune to have several built-in slogans, such as "Give me that Campbell life," and "Never underestimate the power of soup." Let's see, is there anybody else? Oh yeah, of course. Jhostynxon? Jhostynxon? Hold on. Oh, right, yeah. Jhostynxon Garcia. That guy. All potential pronunciations aside, Jhostynxon Garcia is in fact a real person and did in fact make the 2024 All-Minor League roster, which recognizes the best prospects in baseball at each individual position. When Major League Baseball does these selections, they select a first and second team, and the Red Sox organization was the only one with 3 players selected for the first team. Now, while this is all very exciting, we're not here to talk about the 2 top 10 prospects in baseball on this list, as there will be a time and place to talk about your favorite type of soup later on, and the future conquering of the Roman Empire in New England hasn't started yet. So I guess this one is for Jhostynxon, whom I promise I will do my best to probably not intentionally mispronounce his name for the rest of this video. Jhostynxon came into the 2024 season almost as an unknown prospect, not just to national media outlets, but to many Red Sox fans as well. Other than having an absolutely incredible name, probably the most well-known thing about him was the fact that he was the older brother of a more recognizable minor league prospect who also happened to be in the Red Sox organization in Johan Garcia. And while he also has a pretty interesting name, it only scores a 6 on the uniqueness meter, while his elder brother easily scores an 8. Jhostynxon was originally signed out of Venezuela on July 2, 2019, and comes as a product of the current executive vice president and assistant general manager of the Boston Red Sox, Eddie Romero, who played a significant role in his signing and has been heavily involved in other significant international signings for the Red Sox in the past, such as Yoan Moncada, Cedon Rafaela, Brian Bayo, and Rafael Devers. Jhostynxon signed that season for $350,000 and got the 6th highest bonus by the Red Sox during that international signing period, behind some pretty notable guys, like Rivaldo Avila, who got $405,000 during that time and now plays for retired. And John Frank Salazar, who while getting $50,000 more than Jhostynxon in bonus money, still only sits at a 4 on the uniqueness scale for his name, well below Jhostynxon. 3 seasons after Jhostynxon signed, the Red Sox were able to successfully sign his little brother, Johan for the 3rd highest bonus during that year's signing period, at more than double what his older brother got at $850,000, which eventually led both brothers to being on the same roster to begin the 2024 season at Single A, where they started in center field and catcher for the Salem Red Sox. It is worth noting at this point in time, while Johan had already started making a name for himself in the Red Sox prospect rankings, in coming in at 19th overall in the Red Sox system at just 19 years old, Jhostynxon's career was possibly headed for a spiral, as at 21 years old he ranked at just the 49th prospect in the Red Sox system and was now playing his 2nd season at Single A after spending the 2023 season at that level and failing to progress any further. Now, with both brothers being at a crossroads, it appeared that they could be headed in different directions, but early into the season it seemed that both of them might at last be going down the same path. Both the Garcia brothers enjoyed a terrific start to the 2024 season. Each of them were performing at well above average levels in a small sample size, and for Johan specifically, I was personally extremely excited about, as I detailed in one of my first prospect videos on this channel, because he was showing all of the things you could hope for from a young catcher. But this video isn't titled Meet the Garcia Brothers, where we try to find out who was responsible for naming them at birth. It's about Jhostynxon specifically. So why am I talking so much about both of them up to this point in the video? That is, unless something horrible happened to one of them on or around May 1st that could make us change the course of this video, something horrible happened. On May 1st of 2024, Johan hit a line drive deep off the left field wall, and because of a fantastic read by the outfielder, he was forced to stop and retreat back to first base for a long single. But he would never make it back to first base, as in the process of stopping, Johan's knee would buckle and he would have to be carted off the field. Unfortunately for him, the results of an MRI later would reveal that he had torn his ACL and would be out for the season. For Jhostynxon, having to watch her little brother collapse on the field and see a season that was showing so much promise end like that could not have been an easy situation. And although I don't know how he personally handled the immediate aftermath of that internally, I do know how he handled that statistically, and that was by punishing baseballs. Just 2 weeks after the end of Johan Friend's season, the Red Sox had seen enough of Jhostynxon at single A, and after a really strong start to 2024 at that point, and a total of a season and a half of that level, he was at last promoted to High A Greenville. Once he arrived at Greenville, Jhostynxon would step up to the plate and put up some of the most impressive numbers out of anybody in the minor leagues. In 53 games playing for the Greenville Drive, Jhostynxon would repeatedly drive baseballs well out of the ballpark. Garcia would bat .311 with a .371 on-base percentage, a .627 slugging, record a .988 OPS, and crush 16 home runs along the way, which if you extrapolated that across a full major league season would result in 49 home runs. Not only was he crushing the ball out of the stadium, but he was hitting the ball hard within the ballpark as well, as his 14 doubles and 2 triples gave him 32 total extra base hits at High A, or what would have been 98 over a full 162 game season. Jhostynxon, whose nickname of the password is pretty different in its own right and sits firmly at number 5 on the uniqueness nickname chart, is easily above that of one of his childhood heroes in David Ortiz, who while being world famous only sits at a 2 in uniqueness for his nickname, but it still doesn't approach that of other Red Sox great Dennis Ray Boyd, whose nickname of Oil Can easily puts him at a 9 for uniqueness, and who I would bet almost all of you had zero idea what his actual name was until about 5 seconds ago. Putting all that aside though, it was very clear to everybody that Jhostynxon had found the password to unlocking its offensive potential during this time at High A, most notably being that elite in-game power that I mentioned. To really illustrate how impressive this power surge was, I would like to direct your attention to a metric known as isolated power, which basically measures how much raw power a player is showing in-game. Jhostynxon during this time at High A posted a .316 ISO, which if you haven't really heard of the metric doesn't give you much information. So to make this a little bit easier, let me plug in the major league leaders around him so you can visualize it a little bit clearer. If you notice, he fits very comfortably in 3rd place on this leaderboard. As for the 2 players below him, I'm pretty sure you've heard of them in Anthony Santander of the Baltimore Orioles, who happened to hit 44 home runs this season, and Juan Soto of the New York Yankees, who put up an 8.1 F4 this year and crushed 41 home runs of his own. And if you've made it this far into the video, I'm just about positive you've already sorted out who the 2 guys could be on the top of this list, being the well-educated and extremely handsome baseball fan that you are. But in case you still aren't sure, their names sound kind of like Baron Smudge and Smokey Origami. After his 53-game stretch with the Greenville Drive, Hostess Garcia was promoted to Double-A, where his stats in a modest sample size were not nearly as impressive as his time during the previous 2 levels. However, looking over his total end-of-season stats, you can see why he would be worthy as being recognized as having one of the best production of any minor league prospect in the 2024 season, as when you put up his slash lines against possible 2024 AL MVP finalist Jose Ramirez, those numbers start to look pretty impressive. So what does this all mean for Jhostynxon, and what could we expect from him in the future? Jhostynxon Garcia is an interesting prospect for several reasons, but one of the more notable things that I'll touch on in a minute is that he reminds me an awful lot like another famous Red Sox player when he swings the bat. Let's see if you can figure out who I'm talking about while I cover these next few points. Having never been a really highly touted prospect, Garcia is a bit of a late bloomer when it comes to prospects considering the time he's already spent in the minors. In the previous 3 seasons within the Red Sox organization, Jhostynxon really failed to show signs that this type of breakout was going to be coming. In fact, his 23 home runs that he hit over 107 games in 2024 was more than double the amount of home runs he had over the last 3 previous seasons combined. And his 176 weighted runs created plus at High A was 74 points higher than he'd been able to accomplish over the previous 2 seasons. So was this a fluke? While we can't be sure until we have future context behind it, I lean slightly towards it being closer to reality than not. Shifting away from his offense for a moment, which has been the main focus of this video thus far, Garcia still has other tools that should help ensure he's able to make and stick on a major league roster at some point. Jhostynxon is a very good outfielder and shows strong instincts reading the ball that help him make up for his more or less average running speed. He's still projected to be able to stay in center field, and if he does happen to slow down a bit more, he'll be a well above average corner outfielder. And while I feel I've gone over his power development pretty extensively, his hit tool was still one of the larger questions prior to this year. But when you look at his batting average on balls in play data, it really doesn't look too bad and does point to his hits being more a result of skill instead of luck. Also, as I alluded to just a moment ago, I can't get over how much his swing is reminding me of former Red Sox great Manny Ramirez. In fact, earlier this season I made a short video comparison displaying exactly what I'm talking about. So while I fill out the rest of this segment with some words to drag this out as long as I can so you can watch some more of this video clip, I hope the point is noticed and maybe makes you say, huh, yeah, I guess I can see that. Good job, Sox Content, for noticing that. Thank you, random viewer, I really appreciate it. Now that the 2024 season has ended, I'm glad we can talk about what a great breakout season that Jhostynxon had, and that he was able to receive recognition from the national media by being awarded first team honors, as that is something that I don't think that I would have expected, but it's definitely deserving. Garcia is still just getting started at AA, and even though I don't want you to get the misconception that me directly comparing his stance to Manny Ramirez is me saying that he's going to become something like Manny Ramirez, I do think that he has developed into a pretty interesting piece in a loaded Red Sox farm system that has 6 top 100 prospects, not counting Jhostynxon, but he's not too far off from being the 7th player on that list. And as 4 of these players are destined to graduate at some point in the next season, Jhostynxon might just become one of the top prospects not just in the Red Sox farm system, but in all of baseball before you know it. Thank you for tuning into this video. I plan on making some similar type videos for other prospects throughout the season, but I hope you enjoyed this one and you got something out of it. Please feel free to leave any thoughts you have in the comment section below. I try to respond to as many of you as I possibly can. And if you really did like this video, make sure to like and subscribe if you want to see more of it. Thank you once again for watching till the end, and I will see you next time. Bye.